All right, everybody. Now we want to welcome to the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell, the incredibly gorgeous and talented Kelli Maroney. Hello, and welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So you already know Ron. So yes. This is Ron Russell, my cool, outrageous man about town co-host. We have a chat room full of people, so say hi to everybody in the chat room.
Oh, hi. Hi. I didn't know people were going to be on with us. Hello.
Oh, yeah, there's all kinds of people in the chat room.
We're live all over the world.
Right now we have Canada, Germany, UK, the United States, and Australia represented in the chat room. And Angela Joseph is in there. I'm assuming you know her.
I do.
So just say hi to Angela, because she's been helping promote the show all week. So say hi to Angela.
Now I'm dying to say something to you. I don't know your age. You're probably really young. But in my day, there was a song called "I Got a Girl Whose Name Is Boney Maroney." Now, did they call you Boney Maroney?
No, they did. They called my sister. I was like the caboose, and my brothers and sisters were all grown up by the time I was born, and my sister got that one. Because she actually was really thin, really skinny.
I used to like that song. It was good to dance to.
I like it too. But nobody thought I was very bony, I guess.
No. Was your sister bony?
She was weight. Yeah, she always had a problem keeping weight on.
The poor thing.
Yeah, and so she didn't love it too much, but we thought the rest of us thought it was great.
Well, you know what? It gave us some publicity. I got a gal named Boney Maroney.
I don't know. I have any idea what that is.
It was a song from a song from the late 1950s, when I was a teenage boy.
Ron's 80, by the way.
Every week.
No.
You love to blow that.
It doesn't make any difference. It's public knowledge.
And Jimmy's 55 and looks older than me. So there you go.
And we're married.
You know what I mean? It's really terrible. He keeps telling people my age. They think he married me for my money. I don't have any money. I married him for his money.
Does he have any?
Neither one of us do.
I started to meet these guys, and I just enjoyed their company so much, doing different red carpets and premieres and things like that. And I just felt the minute that I met you guys that I'd known you all my life. And so.
And we have known you all our lives because we watched you, and I have, especially because one thing I think is so great about your career, although you're like very well known for horror, you've got such a wide variety, and you're not just pigeonholed in just horror. And everybody keeps writing my favorite cheerleader in the chat room, so everybody loves you. But let me give some bragging for anybody who doesn't know who.
Wasn't she in that awful film where the film was good, but the chopping. Remember the woman? She looked like a dyke, and she was like a policeman or something, and she used to beat the women up.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
She was an ugly actress, very ugly old actress, and she looked like.
We'll talk about the film she's been in.
It's a film she was in. She was beating you up a lot.
Oh, Sharon Farrell. She played my mom in Night of the Comet. She is the person who punched me out.
Yeah, I remember you getting beat up a lot.
So we should talk real quick. First of all, for anybody who doesn't know who Kelli is, some of the things that you have seen her in, I didn't write everything down. And by the way, you're the first guest we've ever had on who was on Family Feud. Were you a contestant on Family Feud?
ABC did Celebrity Week for Sweeps Week, which, if you don't know what that is, it's when they try to the networks compete to see who can get the biggest ratings. And so for ABC, they had Saints versus the Sinners, and my character was horrible. And so I was one of the sinners. And if they told you to do something, you went and did it. You didn't say, "Oh, I think I'd rather not." You went. Otherwise, So I went, and I was really nervous, but I thought, you know what? The only thing I can do about how scary this is win it. So that's what I tried. I got really fierce. It looked like Richard Dawson was scared of me at times. I
love it. We haven't had a Family Feud contestant, I don't think. So I think that's very cool.
And I understand that show was sort of rehearsed and fixed a bit.
Well, here's what happened. They would bring you in for one day, and you'd have 5 changes of clothes, and you'd do all the whole week in one day.
Right.
Is what happened. Funny. Yeah, but as far as the answers went, no.
Yeah, as far as the answers.
The answers were legit.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So also, you guys, she's a soapy. We're friends. We know every soapy. Like actually, we live in Palm Springs, and like there's like 10 of them live here. They all live here.
Capital is
so
soap
we know all of them. But she was on
Tristan Rogers.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Tristan
Judith
Rogers, Judith Chapman, Sean Kanan, Bobby Eakes. She just moved though.
Everybody from
I forgot, but there's a whole bunch of them that live here. But anyway, so you guys, she was on 319 episodes of Ryan's Hope, and she had a couple cameos on One Life to Live, and then
actually they didn't put that. You can't believe everything you read on the IMDb. I can't get them to put the amount of time the number of episodes I was actually on, but I was on there I played Tina while Andrea Evans was out of town, and so I was on there a lot, and they only give me credit for like 2 episodes.
Okay, so IMDb's fucked and it messed it up.
No,
It's not your fault.
No, they do that with me. I've been on so many things, and they won't put it up. Why won't they put it up?
I don't know.
You told me why. I forgot.
I don't know.
Like every show I've done, I'm with Jimmy now 9 years on this show. We do 2 people a week. That's 2, 4, 6, 8. It's
100. It's like 100 a year.
100 a year.
900.
I've done 900 people, and IMDb doesn't recognize it.
Yeah, actually, you do. You have like 200 and something.
Well, why don't I have 900?
Because sometimes there's 2 people on a show and they go on the same episode.
But then my number would go down.
It goes down. It goes up and down.
She has a great. What's your number?
She's got a great number.
What's her number?
This week she's 11,000.
That's not great. I'm usually I don't like it unless I'm, under 10 at least.
In the hundreds.
My highest was 817. I don't know what was going on that week, but
my highest is 4695, and last week I was 6,500, but then I dropped back down to 19,000 this week. So
and what am I? Chopped liver?
You're 110,000.
110,000. Screw you and the horse that you rode in.
I said, there's all my episodes from One Life to Live are missing. And they sent me back what you had to do in order to get an episode on, and you had to know the name of it, and you had to know the number of it, and a whole bunch of technical stuff that I had no idea about, because it was in the 80s.
Right.
So I just gave up.
Oh, actually, they're asking in the chat room, where are you from?
Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Oh my gosh. It's cold. So you like the hot weather here?
I wouldn't survive, I don't think, in Minnesota anymore. But see, I went to New York when I was a teenager to be on, because I was accepted into a conservatory school, the National Shakespeare Company Conservatory.
Yeah,
well, I know that one. I know.
Yeah,
I'm from New York.
That's in Central Park.
Oh no, that's Shakespeare. No, that's different. That's a different one. That's
Shakespeare. Summer Theater.
Public Theater, I think.
I think it was
this was a conservatory school, and what did you just ask me about? Oh, the cold. Well, what I couldn't believe was when I got to the East Coast, even though Minnesota is like the tundra, the wind off the Atlantic whooping into Manhattan was slicing you to just like it was knives. I called my mother and I said, I don't know what they're talking about. This is the coldest I've ever been in my life.
That's because if you go on 57th Street, the wind that blows off the Hudson River is what you're talking about.
Yes.
It goes down that 57th Street like a funnel or tunnel or whatever, and it is freezing. But if you go in the canyons, you stay warm if you go in between the buildings. You have to learn how to be a frozen New Yorker.
Well, I was an Upper West Side girl, but originally I was in Hell's Kitchen, and that's where the studios were where we shot Ryan's Hope.
That's
and
right.
So, yeah. The wind coming right up.
My mother was born and raised in Hell's Kitchen.
So hold on. So some of the, I mean, for me, you have, because you've been in a million things. I made a little list of some of your TV guest appearances and some of the stuff that you've been in. But for me, your 3 most iconic that like everybody like knows you from are Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Everybody, like one of the biggest cult things, because I'm a child of the 80s, so that's like my thing. I graduated high school in 82. And Night of the Comet, which is like the comedy sci-fi horror type movie, and then you got Chopping Mall, which actually we've had Angus Scrimm, Barbara Crampton, and Dick Miller all have been on the show at different times, and so so those to me are like your 3 most iconic, probably that people would know you from, although you've been in a million things. Is that about true?
That is actually dead right, because somebody once called it my mall trilogy. For some reason, I just ended up at that particular time where every time I turned around, I was in a mall. You know, it wasn't intentional. I mean, you couldn't have planned that better if that's what you wanted to do, if you tried, but that's what happened. And sure enough, yeah, that is my mall trilogy, and that's what people know me from. And
Now,
so
I've never been in the mall, but I've been in cabins. And if I work one more film in a cabin, I'm going to scream. Really, all my films I've
Yeah,
been
malls would be better.
in, yeah, at least the mall.
yeah,
You
less claustrophobic.
Yeah, but cabins, everybody gets killed in a cabin.
So do you have any like cool, unusual, first of all, how was it? Because kind of like those are the films that put you on the map. I don't know if they were your first films, but those are kind of films that are like, oh my God, because they were such huge successes and they're such cult favorites. Even now, like, you know, like everybody knows what they are. Anybody who loves horror movies knows Night of the Comet and Chopping Mall. Like, doesn't make any difference.
Yeah, but I'm sure that she's got several kinds of audiences. She's got the horror genre, and then she's got the soap opera people. So she must have tons of admirers in so many areas.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High probably has its own fans just by itself that are like, just on their own.
Because it's more of a comedy. Yeah, it's more mainline. It's not a horror film. But it is funny that I do, and they don't know about my other stuff. So they'll say, "You were on a soap opera? When?" And you do horror movies? You got to be kidding. When? But they don't even know about my other stuff. So it is kind of strange. It's kind of cool.
But the people who watch soaps know you, so you have a big audience there. It's like a lot of people say to me, "You're the guy on the run with Jimmy Starr on that show?" I say, "Yeah." They say, "Oh, I just thought you were an actor." I said, "Well, what do you think I do on this show?" But anyway, you know, you get known by different groups of people. We have people that know us from this show, and then I have people that know me from films. So you have to understand that. It's nice just to have everybody like us. Who cares?
Another thing, well, we'll come back and talk about those two in a minute. I have two other ones I want to like bring up. One of them is Pop Star, which, believe it or not, I love that movie. Rachel Brooks Smith has been on our show like numerous times, and we had her on before anybody knew who she was, you know, and then we had her on as she started being in a bunch of big things. And that was such a fun, you know, movie, and she plays such a bitch. In it, like, how was that? Because that's a very different kind of movie for you.
Yeah, I think there might be another pop star, because in this one I played a stage mother that was always drunk. Yeah, I think it's a different pop star.
Not with Rachel Brooks.
What a great role!
It's not the one about they have another girl singing the voice.
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah, that's it. Rachel Brooks.
Okay, that is the one. Okay, yeah. Okay, for a second I thought maybe, because I know that there's another one, and the name changed a few times because of that. Yeah, no, that was fabulous.
Rachel Brooks Smith is really nice. She always plays the bitch. You know, she's like in all those Bring It On movies, those cheerleading movies and stuff, and she always plays the bitch. And she's a bitch and pop star. And I thought the role seemed very different for you from other things that I've seen you in. But also, like, I really enjoyed it. I don't know if it did well or not, but as a film, I thought it was a lot of fun, and I thought you were brilliant in it. I thought you did a great job for what you did. It was fabulous.
We've got to say that in person, she's a sweetie pie.
Oh, absolutely.
She's the furthest thing from a bitch. And she said she loves to play bitchy roles because in her real life, she's a softie and a pushover. So in a film, it gives her the opportunity to be a tough old bitch, you know?
It's fun. It's very cathartic.
Yes.
Well, how did you like playing a drunken mother? I love it. What a great role. What a great role.
It's a fun thing because now that I'm not a final girl or an ingenue, I was never an ingenue, but more like a soubrette, which is a character-y ingenue. All these mature, the grown-up lady roles are awesome. Like, they're drunks, they're loosey-gooseys, they're killers, they have severe emotional and physical and psychological problems, and they're way more fun.
Do you get to play a MILF? Are you a MILF in any of them?
Oh yeah, I am a MILF. Of course, I'd be offended if I was not cast as.
I know. I think that's
you have to tell our audience, especially our European audience, what a MILF is.
Do you know what it is?
No.
A MILF is a mom I'd love to fuck.
Oh. I don't know if you can say that or not. Okay.
Yes.
I shouldn't have asked. But anyway, everybody, all you Europeans, now you know where Jimmy comes from. But I would love to play a drunk. I always play a mafia killer or a wise guy.
But you could play a DILF.
A what? What's a VILF?
No, a DILF.
What's a DILF?
A dad I'd love to fuck.
I'm not doing daddy porn this week. I'm doing legit. But seriously, I think that Lorene Landon. Do you know Lorene Landon?
Yes.
Lorene's my darling's best friend, sweetheart. We just finished a movie together.
Which
Clown
one?
Fear. Clown Fear.
No, Clown Motel
Clown
2.
Motel 2.
Oh, I know.
And
Yes, I've been hearing so much about this. I didn't get to. I was not invited to Clown Motel 1. Well,
well, we'll talk to Joseph. We'll talk to Joseph about you because there may be a 3. Anyway, Lorene played my wife, and she played it like as a sleazy, drunken barmaid wife. And I'm General Milan, and I thought to myself, how'd they write that? What kind of a general would marry a sleazy blonde with her boobs hanging out drunk? And Lorene played it so well. I mean, she just got into the role, and I think I can't wait to see not the rushes. We don't have them anymore, but I can't wait to see whatever the hell they send us.
Actually, we should ask her about that.
What?
About the rushes in a minute. We'll go back.
They
to
don't
that.
have rushes anymore. That's from my day.
I know, but she's been acting for a pretty long time.
Yeah, well, then I don't think she was around in the days of the rushes. The rushes were like when I did a movie. I forgot what I did, and I was at Universal, and we went into a private studio, and they ran the shoot of the day, or the yesterday actually.
Yeah, I got to see the rushes of Night of the Comet because they said, okay, if you could handle this, because I was dying to see if it was coming across what I wanted to have come across. And most of the times actors are not allowed in there. So they still had them at that point, and that would have been like 83 or something.
They
And
don't
then,
have it anymore. And it's
no, I remember.
I'm sorry, we don't get a chance to see if we're doing it what we want to do, how it looks, or how we can do it better.
Well, sometimes then I remember in the late 90s when Avid came in, and that was the holy grail. And they'd let you back there and you could kind of see what it was. And nowadays they will show you, and they'll say, if they think you're going to like it, they'll say, Kelly, come here, or they'll take a still so that you can see what it's going to look like.
Yeah, you have to look in the camera. If you're lucky enough to get there, because they do a film in a minute and a half.
Yeah, they sure do.
Years ago, it was 3 months to shoot a movie. Today, it's 10 days.
Yeah, so, and if we had 6 or 9 weeks, that was quick.
Yeah, and that's so. How do you feel like? How do you see that? Because you're in a lot of movies now that do like the 10-day, 2-week thing. Like how is it different for you? Like how is the difference? I mean, I know it's way different. But like for you being able, because most people that are in a lot of films and all these films now, that's all they know is the 10-day shoot. They haven't had a long enough career to know when you used to actually like make a movie and do rehearsals and all those kinds of things that don't get happened anymore. So how is that difference for you?
Well, it's I was very well served by my time on the soap, because you show up, you shoot it, you do one for safety, and you're moving on, and so you better be prepared and be ready for whatever they need to do at the last minute. Like my worst nightmare is you come for prepared for certain scenes, and then they say, oh, it's raining. That 4-page monologue that you have where nobody else is talking but you, let's do that instead. And you thought they were going to shoot it at the end of the movie, so you better know it. That it keeps you on your toes. What can you do?
That's good though, but the soap opera experience really did help you a lot then.
My favorite story from Tristan Rogers is he goes to work. I forgot who does he play? Scorpio
on General Hospital.
And he had a 42-page script
for
the day, and they handed it to him, and they said, oh, and by the way, we changed this, and this. And then they said, okay, camera, go. And Tristan dropped dead, but for some miracle, he could remember a 42-page script. I would drop dead if I gave it to me.
Well, it's the mind is a muscle, and so when you're on a soap, you get to the point where you can look at it and know what it is. But just day in and day out, like if somebody asked me to do that right now, because I haven't been on a soap in quite some time, I wouldn't be able to do it. But at the time, I could, because I was. I love that. When you're working out all the time, your muscles are really strong. It's the same thing. You just got to memorize and then they also have teleprompters, which they probably thought, oh, he'll read the teleprompter, it'll be fine. But I have astigmatism, and here's me reading the teleprompter. Once I did it once, and I still cringe to think of it.
Did you ever watch?
Thinking of it.
Did you ever watch The Golden Girls? When the one that plays the mother is reading the teleprompters on the floor, and you see how she's squinting to look at the teleprompter because she can't see.
Right.
I don't use a teleprompter or cue cards. I use an earpiece.
Oh, I've never tried an earpiece, but
It's wonderful. I had a pretty big scene in Clown, and I was at a pool table and I was delivering this big, and it was all military language that I have no idea what the hell it means. And I had difficulty with the script. So Jimmy went outside and he read me my lines. And after I finished, guess what? They applauded. And they said, Ron, that was beautiful. What a great scene. I thought, holy shit, I'm never getting rid of this earplug.
Or this guy, for that matter.
Absolutely.
It was so easy because the words were coming to me and I was able to emote, do what I was supposed to be very authoritative and encouraging and blah, blah, blah. And sometimes when you don't know your lines, you're so busy trying to remember your lines, you forget your acting.
Yeah, and it makes you not come across as confident. If you got to be a general or a ball or some kind, you have to come across really confident, and you can't do that if you're worried about your lines. You can't.
Well, Robert De Niro uses an earpiece. So does Eric Roberts.
Johnny Depp, a whole bunch
Johnny
of them.
Depp does it. Johnny Depp remembers lines. He just doesn't like learning them, so he makes it in his contract. I use an earpiece. Read me my lines. I can't be. He hates learning lines. So any movie you see Johnny Depp in, he's being fed those lines.
Yeah. Well, the thing with actors is that sometimes you feel like if you memorize it a certain way, then you're more worried about saying it the way you memorized it unconsciously than being in the moment with the other actor, because that character doesn't know what they're about to say. Exactly. And so that's probably why. I've not used one of those, but
it's wonderful. Trust me.
Be interested in
it's such a wonderful relief feeling of tension. You have no tension at all. You just feel so like your brain is functioning, especially when you're in the script and you learn it to the letter. Like I did a film for Lionsgate, and we weren't allowed to ad-lib. They told us it has to be letter perfect. And then before we shot it, they said, "Oh, here's the new script." I said, "Hello." At that time I was 79. I said, I'm 79 years old. You don't throw new scripts at a 79-year-old actor. And guess what? When we shot it, I used the original script because that's all I knew.
Did they notice?
They were okay.
Well, you know what? I was able to change a few things. Like I told the director, I said, I'm supposed to be a tough guy from Brooklyn, and I'm referring to a restaurant. And I'm not going to refer to it as a restaurant because coming from Brooklyn, no one ever did. It was called a joint.
I was going to say it's a joint. Yeah.
Yeah, you're going
She knew.
You're going to eat at a joint. My director came over. He said, nobody knows that word. That's an old word. I said, no, it's not. Everybody knows.
In New York, it's not. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so anyway, I did joint. And after they liked it, they said, yeah, it's better. You can't play. Did you ever see bad New York actors who people who want to act like a New Yorker? And they do this dumb, like, what's his name, who's terrible at it?
We're not going to mention him.
Yeah, DiCaprio's, Coppolo's nephew.
I don't know who you're talking about.
The actor that gets 18.
Like Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage gets paid more money than anybody on the planet. And Nicolas Cage once did a New York accent that I was laughing my ass off because it was so bad. It was so stereotypical, like gems, cheese, and toes.
What movie? I don't remember him doing one of those.
Yes, he did in one of the movies, and I forgot what movie it was. It was a while ago, and he had this rough. Hey, saw a dog. He had this rough, tough New York accent. Learn it well. It's like Southern accents. I can't do a good Southern accent because Astro, shut up. When I do a Southern accent, it comes out like a Yiddish accent.
When I was in school, the first time I learned a Southern accent, it came out British.
Okay, so there you go.
You know why? Because when we settled the South, we were British, and it's so bloody hot down there that their speech slowed, and so it went from being a very upper class British accent to what we know now, to a real Scarlett O'Hara. I would have never known that, but it actually happened to me because
what's wonderful about the earpiece is if you have a fellow like let's say we have a linguist, a person who does accents. Let's say you have to do a Japanese accent or Chinese, which is a big difference between the Chinese and the Japanese accent.
Yeah.
If you have a linguist who knows a Japanese accent, as he tells you the lines, he's saying it in the accent. So you absolutely can say it beautifully. It's really a wonder. Did you know they used it in theater for years on Broadway?
I did know that because a couple of older actors have told me, I've been wearing the earpiece forever and I love it. I wish I'd, so I did know that because you can't.
My buddy Jane Russell, who was my dearest and best friend in the world, we hung out together. And Jane said to me when she was in company on Broadway, she had a piece because Jane hadn't any memory. I used to say to her, Jane, I could get you in a lot of movies. So many friends of mine would kill for you. She'd say, leave me alone. I can't remember my lines, Ron. She was a broad. Jane was a broad. That's how she spoke.
So hold on. I want to go back now. So hold on. So I got two other movies I want to mention because one of them we've had a bunch of the people on our show, and we just had Adrienne Barbeau on like 6 weeks ago and Joe Castro like 2 weeks ago. So you did Exorcism at 60,000 feet. We haven't seen it yet. I don't know if it's any good, but Joe Castro did the special effects. It's got Bill Moseley, Lance Henriksen's been on our show, Adrienne Barbeau. Bai Ling has not been on our show, but I have met her.
How come we haven't seen that movie yet?
Because you have to rent it.
No, we don't pay. I mean, since when? They send us the link.
No, but no,
we give them free.
We have to get the Jimmy, director of it.
Do you realize how much money we get? $8,000 something if they want to push a movie. So we do it for free. They could send me a friggin' link.
Is the movie good? Did you enjoy? I mean, I love the cast. I think it's a great cast and a lot of fun. Yeah, why would I bring it up if she's not in it?
The hell do I know? I'm always...
she's in it.
Oh, now I want to see it.
We're very good friends with Joe Castro. He came to our house actually for our Christmas party. Yeah. He's a great guy. So how was that movie? Is it fun? Was it fun?
Don't go any further. Who produced it?
Corpsey, Ryan.
Oh, that's your friend.
Okay, call your friend up and tell him to send us the link.
I'm sure he will. I'm sure he'd love it.
I want to see it tonight, and we'll talk about it.
He used to be a publicity person for ABC, so he's very in touch with how important it is to have publicity.
I want to watch it.
So that's who we met her with the first time we met her.
Oh, he was nice
with him.
Guy.
Yeah, he's a very nice guy. Yeah, he is.
He only hangs out with nice guys. Then the other movie I wanted to bring. So that movie was fun. Did it come out okay? Is it a pretty okay, fun movie?
Yeah, I'm a very poor judge of my own films. So having said that, I'm not in it a lot. It's more like a special appearance by I've only got a couple of scenes. But the rest of it, yeah. And I think that particularly the acting is, you get all those people. When I used to do interviews for it before it came out, one thing I would say is if you see all these people, Adrienne, me, Bill Moseley, Lance Henriksen, if you see us all get on a plane, don't get on that plane unless you find out we're going to a convention because it's us. What do you think's going to happen?
So then you have another one too called Hell's Kitty, and I had never heard of this movie ever before. We had when we first moved to Palm Springs from Pennsylvania, we had Victoria DeMaria on the show, and she talked about it. And then I was looking at your IMDb, and I saw that you were in it, and then I saw all the people because we've had almost everybody. So Hell's Kitty, you guys. It's got Adrienne Barbeau, Kelli Maroney, Victoria DeMaria, Alyssa Dowling, who I think might be coming on next week. Michael Berryman, Augie Duke, who's a good friend of ours. Doug Jones has been on our show. Lynn Lowry, Bill Oberst Jr.'s been on our show. Barbara Nedjelakova's been on the show. Courtney Gaines has been on the show. And Lee Merriweather, who we know, but she's never been on the show.
No, but
what an all-star cast.
She wants to come on, by the way.
But what an all-star cast of that movie. Should we go see that movie? I mean, it's got so many famous people, fabulous,
of course you should go see
people.
It. Of course you should.
Doesn't mean it's good. I'm just
listen, Jimmy, stop it. Today,
I think that was the whole idea. Is this Nick Tana has a cat that he used to joke because he could never have a girlfriend because this cat was jealous, and it was really this cat was an angel. She's passed away now. She was a fabulous actress. She did stuff I couldn't believe they got her to do. And it's a cat. It's not even like a dog that you can train. You can't train a cat. She had star quality. And so his idea was to bring all the horror icons that he knew. And it was a web series. And there was a little difficulty because we didn't sign up to do a movie. We signed up to do a web series. And so then now what I understand now is that it's become a musical, which I'd love to see it as a musical. I bet that's hilarious.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a little bit campy, obviously, you know.
But it's actually a real cat. It's about a real. It's about a real cat. Oh my gosh!
But
and they shot a real cat. Her name was Angel. She was phenomenal. And I saw them shoot stuff with her. And I thought, oh, they're just going to fake it because she's a cat. No, she came in and she would come in when she was supposed to, and her responses were, and then they'd make her eyes glow red. So the joke is that every time he brings a woman in, you know, that he's trying to date, she kills them. And she brings in all these paranormal people. Lynn Lowry and I play sisters who are gypsies.
I love it.
And he hires
about the movie that you all think may not be good. Let me say something. With what is going on right now in the world, with this anger, hatred, explosions, killing, bad mouthing, nasty crap, we need fantasy. Yes. And this movie sounds like fantasy. So when you see it, it takes you away for an hour, 5 or 6 or 8, into a beautiful place, and your brain gets a rest. So everyone out there, please rent this film, go see this film. It'll relax you. It'll make you be happy. Even if the film is not Gone with the Wind, it's okay. It's going to take.
Most of them are not going to be Gone with the Wind, you know.
Right?
She said most of them are not going to be Gone with the Wind. I love that. So okay, so here's some of my like.
That's what I love about. You'll watch a bad horror movie just for the fun of it. You won't necessarily watch a bad period, you know, historical period drama if it's bad, but you'll watch a bad horror movie. That's what I love about horror.
That's what I love too.
Every horror movie I'm in, I think stinks, and then it gets the best reviews and it sells like crazy. So my taste in horror movies is very sophisticated. I go back to like Night of the Living Dead, the original one, and I go back to Killers from Outer Space and stuff like that.
He likes Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
I love that movie. And Killer Tomatoes and all that stupid jazz because it was fun. It was camp. Used to giggle from it. And that's what we need today. We need to giggle a little more.
Well, I agree. And you know, who knew that in 2020 I'd be sitting here talking about some of those films? I mean, it's crazy.
Do you have a favorite?
They're classic.
Do you have a favorite of one of all your films? Like, what do you have one that's your like favorite that you had the most fun on, or you've seen the most benefit from, or you pretty much like have pretty much enjoyed everything because you've had such an evolutionary career that keeps evolving?
You know, I love them all for different reasons. I just when I'm working on one for sure, that's the only part in the whole world for me, and everything is just different facets of somebody. Let me pretend to be that person. So I would think probably people know me the most from Night of the Comet. And it was on that movie that I met my coach, Roy London, who's been passed away for decades now. I've never met anybody like him since. And if not, you know, and also I'm very fortunate. I usually make a best friend forever on each of my movies.
Oh, that's fabulous.
And that's the best part of it.
That I like.
Me too. I love Augie Duke. I mean, Augie's fabulous. We were on a film together called Clown Fear, and I spent some time in her trailer with 6 other girls. And all they talked about was who they banged in Hollywood and who had small penises and who had big penises and who was good and who was bad.
I've been in those trailers too.
I walked out of there with such an education, and I thought to myself, good thing you're gay. Could you imagine having sex with one of these girls? It would be all over the lot. It would be in everybody's trailer.
Oh, shit. Hold on. We have to go back because like in the chat room, they're talking about that. You have your own action figure for Night of the Comet.
You're kidding.
And for Chopping Mall.
And for Chopping Mall.
Wow.
Where do we get like where would we find them? Like where could we?
We haven't figured out an efficient way of manufacturing them so that they wouldn't. I mean, they're going to be so expensive if they make them because there's no. So, if we had a bulk order, then they would be. I could pass them on at some sort of a reasonable cost to other people. But they've been made. I've had several prototypes made, and they're all great in their own different way.
That is so cool. I love that.
Do a pre-order. Everybody out there who wants this doll, contact.
We don't call them dolls.
Well, I call them dolls. Contact action figure. Contact
Kelli.
And say you want an
We should
action.
put one together.
Shut
and
up,
see if
Jimmy.
we
I'm
could
doing
do
a
it.
commercial. And contact Kelly and tell her you want one of her action figures. And when the number goes up to 10,000, then she'll manufacture and you send money and you'll get it.
Actually,
That'll
we need,
happen.
we need to get a Funko Pop of you too, though. Like I collect the Funko Pops from everybody who's been on the show. I have like hundreds of them, so we need to get you your own Funko Pop.
Did you know somebody's making dolls out of us?
Yeah.
And I don't like the idea because enemies will stick pins in my doll.
It's definitely a voodoo thing. It's
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't need them sticking pins in my eyes and brains.
That's
I
so
have a crochet doll of me as Allison in Chopping Mall, and it could very easily be used as a voodoo doll.
Yeah, well,
We're of that bent. Yeah.
So here's a
well,
question.
I think this woman's making puppets out of us. Is that what it is?
I don't know what it is,
I
but
forgot what it was. She contacted us and it went nowhere. But anyway,
I want to know. Okay, so because you've had such a cool career, if you had a bucket list, who's
wait, before the bucket list, somebody just asked me to ask her a question. They want to know, how did you meet your guy?
Oh, well, this is a funny thing. I'd been getting over a breakup that really got me. And so it had been a couple of years, and I thought, because I couldn't get over it. I couldn't, I just didn't ever feel like dating anyone ever again. But I thought, this is getting weird. And so I put myself on an internet, which one was it? On an internet dating thing. And I took and what happens with women is that you put yourself on and you go, oh, brother, and you go to bed. And in the morning, your inbox is full of stuff, right? And so, but the thing was, is that somebody had written me immediately and said, isn't this Kelli Maroney, the actress? And so I got creeped out because for some reason, I thought I was going to be able to do this incognito. I don't, which is stupid on my part. But I really did. I really did. And so so Daniel had written to me and somebody else, and I said, I'll take those two guys. And I said, okay, so I have to get off this thing. No, actually, I narrowed it down to Daniel. I wrote to him, and I didn't know that he would ever do it. But I said, I have to get off here, but here's my information. And I wasn't even sure if he was going to be allowed to get my information in a message or not. And I thought, okay. And I took myself off, and I thought, maybe he'll call me, and he did. He did, because he's a smooth operator. He's very, he presents very well.
Now, where did he take you on the first date?
The first date, we went to a coffee shop down where I live. It's called Solar de Cahuenga, because that's pretty safe on both parts, And I walked in, and he was even better looking than he was in his picture. And I went, what is he doing on a dating site? And he turned around and said to me, you're better looking than your picture, which is like, thank you. And the whole time I just stared at him. I thought, this guy has got so much charisma. I can't believe it. And so from there, I thought, boy, if he ends up to be the one, I'm going to be happy to stop right there.
There you go.
So you lucked out. I lucked out when I met Jimmy too. I was in a 46-year relationship that ended due to pancreatic cancer, and I was heartbroken for 2 years. And I met Sal when I was 19. We grew up together, and I never dreamed I could ever love anybody again. And then 3 years later, I met Jimmy, and it happened. So for everyone out there, don't think it's over.
Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up, because it continues again. Remember, the love you have in your heart goes out to different people. It's the same love. You don't love somebody because of in a special way, I'm trying to say. It's love, right? The love you gave the first jerk that you had a problem with, you gave to the second good guy.
And he appreciated it.
So share that love in your heart. Give that love in your heart.
With every relationship you have that doesn't work out, it just brings you closer to the one that is going to work out. And you're going to be so much more equipped because you've you've figured out how to do it if we always wonder what would have happened if we met when we were 21,
right.
We would have blown it because we didn't know what
Now, Kelly, honestly, answer this question. If you're not going to answer it honestly, I'm not talking to you anymore. I'll be mad at you. Honestly, do you look back at the jerk and say, "Thank God I didn't marry him"?
Several of
Several.
several.
I've had a few of those too, where I look back and I said, "Boy, oh
Wow.
boy, would I have been in a mess if I married that moron."
And
But
my friends too. I think I remember that they felt so horrible at the time, and you just look and you go, dodged a bullet.
Absolutely.
well, you got a good one, and you're a sweetie pie, and good finds good. It may take some time. You may have to weed the garden, but I believe that good finds good.
I do too. And when you're ready too, and you might not even know you're ready because you're just busy doing your thing, but somehow the universe goes, all right, you're ready. It's timing. It's all. I feel it's got to be divine timing because things work out so weird. It can't be an accident.
I met Jimmy in the mall. He looked like a rock star, ripped dungarees, earrings, long hair. He looked like a big person. And I would never go out. I go out with Ralph Lauren looking guys, slick New York looking Sharpies. And this one looked like a ragmuffin, like I should give him $2 to go get a coffee or something. And I would never, ever be with a person like him. Anyway, long story short, we did a thing together, and he was in a blue suede suit with a white shirt and a tie and his haircut, no earrings. I took one look at him. I said, "Now we're cooking, Buster."
Now we're talking.
Now we're talking. Okay. Oh yeah, Meg's in the chat room. She says best movie
Meg,
ever made.
My
Hey Meg.
sweetheart, I love you, Meg. I called you before, honey. You weren't home. I know you were out shopping. I couldn't call you back because we were going into airtime.
And everybody's talking about how that they're so happy for you and Daniel and your relationship and that it's going well. Everybody
let me finish my message to Meg. Meg, I'll call you a little later. I have a few things to do after the show, but I will call you, honey bun.
Anyway, so I want to go back. Here's my thing that I like to ask actresses and actors. So you've had like this great career, bucket list. Who's like a male and female star that you have not had an opportunity to work with that you'd be like, oh my God, I'd love to work with them. And number two, if you could have been in any movie that's ever been made in history, what movie would you have liked to have been in?
Oh, wow. Those are great questions. I would like to have played every part that Bette Davis ever played.
There you go. That's Ron. Ron knew her.
I knew Betty.
Oh my gosh. I just admire her so much. And of course, when I was a kid, I adored Gone with the Wind. I think I must have read the book 13 times in a row. But I was not right for any of those parts. Maybe Melanie, if you drag me down.
You know what? Let me give you a little quickie on Bette Davis.
Yeah.
I grew up with Bette Davis, now Voyager, playing sophisticated, elegant, wealthy women. She was always beautifully spoken, down to the letter.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing her, and I wrote this on Facebook the other day. I went to a party at her house on Havenhurst, and she was the only woman I ever knew that could smoke a cigarette and drink a scotch at the same time and say, "Fuck you." I mean, she was a broad. She had a dirty mouth. That elegant woman we saw on the screen, she was a regular Connecticut Yank. A straight shooter. She didn't care for bullshit. If you gave her we went to lunch one day at the Mustache, and some gay guys came over to the table. They recognized her, and they kept saying, "Oh, Miss Davis, I adore you. I love you. I think you're wonderful." And she said, "Of course you do. Of course you do. Of course you do." That was Betty. She had a wonderful sense of humor. She loved dirty jokes. She loved anything that was. Somebody gave her a dildo one time, and she said, "What is this?" And then they went into a whole conversation. Oh, that was Tristan Rogers. Right. She asked Tristan Rogers what a dildo was. That's right, at an affair, because Tristan told me that story. Anyway, Betty was wonderful. You would have loved her. She would have loved you because she only liked real people. She didn't like fake people.
I love it. So, okay.
That's why she hated Joan Crawford, because she said Joan Crawford she said, not only were her tits fake, but she was fake.
Meow.
So Gone with the Wind would have been the movie then you would have liked to have been in?
Well, I was actually thinking about, who wouldn't want to be in Whatever Happened to Baby Jane?
I love that. He hates that. I love that movie. I think it's fabulous.
I discussed that with Betty thousands of times. It came up because new people that came into a room, they would recognize her from Baby Jane, and I would watch her cringe. She would go inside of herself, and then she'd blurp out, "I'm a far better actress, and I've made fabulous movies." Jane, I needed the money. And that she never really
I love that movie.
She really was embarrassed, humiliated, and hated that film. She
But
did
she dropped all her vanity to play the part, and she went with that, white, almost flower-like makeup. I mean, she really went there. She didn't like try to. I'll just do this movie, but I won't look bad. Or
no, she was famous for that. Mr. Skeffington, she aged.
I love that movie so much.
Yeah, she did also. Betty's favorite movie was Voyager. Now Voyager, because it was the public's
We
most
just
favorite
watched that the
movie.
other day.
And the movie she disliked the most was with Claude Rains. I believe it was called Dangerous. And there was a couple of movies that she really didn't like. Beyond the Forest, she didn't like doing that one either.
Hang on,
she thought that was a piece.
Go
of
back
junk.
though. Okay, so you didn't give us an actor. What actor would you have liked? Would you like to work with?
There's so. I mean, I think Anthony Hopkins is probably my favorite actor. But
Absolutely great.
Absolutely.
Actors I haven't worked with, but in my own genre, I've never done a movie with Eric Roberts ever.
You will.
Really?
You will. You will.
You think I must be the only person in the whole world that hasn't? There's a lot of people in my own genre that I haven't gotten really a chance to work with.
Do you have a favorite genre film?
You will work with Eric because he makes 1,000 films a week.
I know.
You're bound to get called into one of
the who hasn't worked with him?
Putting it out there, everybody. So hold on. Do you have a favorite genre film? Not like one of yours, but like if you were to watch a favorite horror movie, do you have like a favorite horror movie that's a movie that you just like to watch because it's fun?
Yeah, I like the old Nosferatu.
Oh yeah, that's
really
good.
Scary. I like
I love that one.
Baby, which I did a movie right now. It's kind of like Rosemary's Baby meets Cthulhu from the Deep One. It's called The Deep Ones. It's an H.P. Lovecraft movie, and there's elements of and also oh my goodness, Damien Omen, The Omen.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yes,
I love.
They were classically done. Rosemary's Baby was a film. It wasn't a horror movie. It was a film, and it was done beautifully. And Mia was wonderful in it. And it's one of my favorite films too.
I love it too, actually. Actually, I think I read something where they're gonna maybe like try to redo Rosemary's Baby, but I wish they wouldn't keep redoing stuff. I wish they would leave all the old movies alone. And there's so many writers who can write new things, and everybody would write new things instead of remaking everything. Because I'm not a huge fan of the remake.
But I remember when Lee Remick did the remake of Betty Davis's film, The Letter. Remember The Letter? The Letter was a brilliant piece of work. Betty didn't care for the film. I loved it, and I told her it was one of my favorites. She didn't care for the director or a lot of the stuff that went on. And she, anyway, Lee Remick did it, the remake of The Letter. It was so bad. I felt terrible for Lee Remick because it was just a piece of junk. And she was a good actress, Lee Remick.
She sure was, yes.
Absolutely.
You got to leave stuff alone. The movie that Betty had the most objection to was the one with where she was the woman going blind and dying. What was the name of that one? And at the very end, she goes to bed and pulls the covers over herself to die. And suddenly you heard angels. And she said she fought that studio, get rid of the fucking angels, she said. I don't want the fucking angels. And they insisted. And Betty said, no, I wanted to die into peaceful silence. And I think she was right. That scene would have been better if the music went, and she just faded away. Not with the angels coming in and making it a big. Anyway.
So we don't have much say over what we can always say what we would like, but actors don't have a lot of say as to what ends up happening.
Yeah, but she did. Right. Betty did.
But Betty Davis can't make it happen. Who can?
No. Betty had a little secret code that we talked about, and she said, if a director didn't listen to me, I'd say, you know what can happen. And then she'd walk away. And the director would say, okay, Miss Davis, we'll do it your way. You know what could happen?
That's power.
No, you know what can happen means I don't feel well. I think I'll be sick for a couple of weeks.
Which they used to do. Those people used to do that.
They did that.
They had to fight contracts and stuff.
Would you ever threaten a studio if they didn't do it? If they made a jerk of you, would you allow it?
I don't know that there's a lot I could do about it, honestly.
Would you walk off the set?
Well, like what kind of thing would they have done?
I mean, something. Let's put it this way: that you're you come out of a shower, you slip on the soap, and you lay there with your legs wide open, and the camera comes in for a close up. Now, I mean, are you going to allow that?
Well, no. What would actually happen was somebody would race upstairs, come up with some kind of a contract, bring it downstairs, and say, "I promise you that footage is never going anywhere. It's being destroyed, and here's a legal binding document to prove that." Because if you didn't say that you were willing to do that, and they do that to you, you can sue them. So, actually, something happened to me like that, where something was shown and I hadn't contracted to do any nudity. And that's exactly what they did. They ran upstairs, they got legal. They said that is never going to be in the movie.
Do you,
well, you get $5,000 if you do a Mookie shot. In horror movies,
no, it's not right.
They paid.
You get a bump, but it's not the same amount of money on every film.
What's her name? I won't use her name. Who was wallowing in the mire in that bathtub? She got $5,000 for her pussy showing.
Anyway, we're not going to talk about that right now. Anyway, hold on. I want to go. Do you know who Joe Lujan is? Joe Lujan's he has a series called The Immortal Wars. Anyway, Angela Joseph just told me to tell you that because he's got Eric Roberts in his movies, and she told me to tell you that she just told Joe Lujan that you want to work with Eric Roberts. So maybe we get you in a movie with Eric Roberts.
He does this thing called The Wrong Doctor or something like that on Lifetime, and it's hilarious. He breaks the fourth wall and talks to the camera, and he's evil and stuff. But then when he gets caught, he's like, "What do you expect?"
Eric uses cards or has an earpiece, maybe. So you're going to work with a guy who really is going to know his lines.
So you guys,
when you say that, I feel like I haven't worked with nearly enough people. I mean, there's so many people I admire, and so many people I would be so excited to do something with.
Well, you're going to have all kinds of opportunities.
I'm going to. I don't want to ask how old you are. Well, I know you're considerably younger than I, but I don't look 80 on film. I could pass for 60 on film. I'm in a movie where they're searching for my wife. I'm going to suggest to Dave, maybe your name, to play my wife. It's an excellent part and a wonderful script for a change. It's a good script. And I won't give it away on the air, but you're my wife, but you're more than just my wife. And that's where the mystery unfolds.
Anyway. Because I'm producing like 26 films right now, so like I will keep it all in mind if I can. Everything has to get improved by the people putting up the millions of dollars for the film. But I think that you are a great talent. I think you're incredibly charming. Actress. You're an actual actress, because a lot of the actors nowadays, they just read lines, but they don't actually know how to act. And you're an actual actress who knows how to act. I want to congratulate you on a wonderful career. We're so happy that you came on the show today. We have another guest coming on.
I love Adrienne Barbeau, by the way. She was so sweet, so charming, so lovely. And I said to her, do you have a boyfriend? She said, no, but I'd like one, not to get married, just to have someone to go out with. So now I put.
So he pimps her out all over the place.
So now I'm advertising. I'm advertising all over. I got one guy. I have one guy who's an actor friend of ours. He said he would love to date Adrienne. And I told him. I said, call. I said, call.
Like you.
Call her.
But you're married.
I don't know if he called Adrienne. I really have to follow up on that.
Anyway, we've got to go because we've got to get another guest coming. You guys follow Kelli in social media. She's at Kelli Maroney on Twitter, which Kelli is KelliMaroney. What are you on Instagram?
Kelli Maroney. I just try to keep it simple.
Kelli Maroney. That's perfect. So she's Kelli Maroney everywhere, you guys. Follow her everywhere. Check out all her body of work. You'll love all of them. If you want to see the real classics, make sure to see Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Night of the Comet, and Shopping Mall. But she's got all kinds of new stuff coming out. She's working all the time. We want to congratulate you. Thank you for coming on the show. And if you ever have a movie to promote, let us know. We'll bring you back and get you lots of exposure.
And I hope to see you at the next red carpet when we're free.
Yeah. Yay. Oh, yes. We'll be sure to have a great time. I love you guys. Thank you so much.
I love you back.
Thanks.
You're a sweetie pie.
Bye-bye. All right, everybody.